How's it going, YouTube? So we've gotten a little more work done. I don't know if any of you pay attention to my text posts with pictures and stuff, but we're going to do a little video for those of you who do a little better by watching rather than actually reading. But we've done a lot of work on our cylinder jacket. This is like the main component that makes this entire thing work. We're having to get very creative with how we're going to be actuating the valves, due to the space, the limited amount of space that we have here between the ports and where the actual camshaft rides. So the idea here is, let me see if I can get, we're going to have a pin that's about a 1/2 inch in diameter right here, and it's going to go all the way through to the other side, and we're going to have little actuators that actually have the spring and the roller on them as well in this little box area here. Because if you look in here, we don't have a whole lot of room to play with in terms of the valves before we meet the water jacket. If I can reorient myself here. There we go. But we don't have a whole lot of room in here with these right here. So we're going to have little actuators running along this bar here. This is going to have a stamped metal or 3D printed metal sheet plate, because I kind of want to mess with that a little bit just to see what it can do. But the valves are going to have a notch cut in them, and this actuator is going to ride in that notch, and the actuator is going to have the spring and the roller. So literally the valve is it's just going to be the valve stem poking down through here, and the actuator is going to actually have all the stuff going on with it. And the cam's going to ride in through here. And so, yeah, I hope I explained that as good as I could. It's worked out in my head, and the 3D animations in my brain seem to think that it's going to function okay. We've also got our water passages. These holes right here, that's our water passages. And sorry, I'm using my phone to film all this, and I keep looking at the screen instead of the phone screen. So we got our water passages here. In the previous design, we had water passages along the bottom. I didn't particularly like that because the space between the cylinders themselves are kind of tight. So I wanted to encourage water to go through and in between the cylinders, instead of just going around the outsides. So that's why we removed those. So water will come in this port right here, shoot all the way to the back, and push its way in between the cylinders up into here and out through the top. We might need to remove a couple of these passages. I'm gonna have to think on that a little bit more, but yeah. Also, we noticed that there might be a potential issue with cooling the exhaust valve seat, which this is the exhaust valve. So to try and keep that heat, out of the engine and away from the valve seat. I mean, the valve seats are going to be made like out of something like Inconel or something like that. But we put these cooling fins here to sort of get rid of some of that heat and get rid of some of the exhaust temperatures too, exhaust heat as well. These blocks right here are going to be thinned up a little bit. That's pretty much what we got going so far. We can look at the full engine here. Actually starting to look kind of cool now. Whether or not it's going to work, that's yet to be seen. Hopefully I can get the money together to actually get some of these parts machined once I have the final design, all ironed out. We're also going to have to figure out a way to seal off our camshaft area, our gear area. So right now, see, we got a space here, a space here. My concern is sealing and, tolerances here, just to make sure oil doesn't just start leaking out of these spaces, and also this space here, because the camshaft comes and it butts up to here. So this might be a very leaky engine, but if it's leaking oil, it's got oil. So it'd be a visual inspection tool. Yeah, we also got the bottom girdle got the bolt holes all done in it. We don't have the oil passage hole drilled just yet. I think it's going to go somewhere about right here or right here, or somewhere up towards the front somewhere. But it just depends on what we decide and where we want our oil pump and how we're going to drive our oil pump, which I think I'm just going to go off cam gear here, which these were very difficult to make, by the way. They're just regular old spur gears, but yeah. So also our clutch basket thing, I think we're going to rethink this. I don't know, I mean, usually when you have a clutch basket, it's usually going to be a wet clutch, and I don't want a wet clutch on an engine that's going to have a decent amount of torque if it does run, because that's going to create a lot of heat and friction, because wet clutches slip. That's what they do. They're designed to slip. So we don't have the spark plug holes designed yet. I'm still trying to do research on what spark plug I want and what size hole to drill and taps and all that stuff, threads. Again, I have no engineering background. The only thing I'm going off of is all the research I've done by just looking at engines and, you know, the different solutions that other designers have made for, you know, their engines and their quirks and their designs. So this is literally just me taking all the information I have in my brain about engines and throwing it into one block. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and if you want to keep up to date with this, be sure to hit the subscribe button if you like stuff like this. You know, knowing that people are actually watching this encourages me to continue on doing this. And I'm not in it for them. I don't make any money off of YouTube and never made any money off of social media, and I don't really ever want to. But, you know, just sharing my ideas with the world, that's what keeps me going. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.